Hello everyone, welcome to the first episode of the Voron Zero series. Today we will start working and building the Voron Zero, and after we are done with that, in maybe this episode, maybe a couple of episodes, I don't know yet, we will move on to modding the Voron Zero as well. But before I even start building, I want to go over some of the things I got for the build. First of all, I know I mentioned this in the previous episode, well, previous video, and this wasn't an episode. I am going with a red build for the extrusions, and for the rest of the color scheme, most of the 3D printed parts will be black, as you can see here. And by the way, most of them are still cooking, I don't have them, but I'm working on it. And some of the accent colors, I want to try this gray PLA, not PLA, sorry, ABS. And for the accent color, I actually chose different parts and the recommended accent color parts. I modeled it on the cat we have for this, and it looks pretty sweet, so yeah, hopefully it will turn out nice. And well, you'll also notice the gray panels back there. These are 3mm thick aluminium. Yeah, I will use these for the panels instead of plastic ABS or anything like that. And yeah, I think it will go well with this color as well. They are pretty close. Maybe if I zoom in, you will see it better. It is a pretty close shade. Yeah, I think it will look pretty nice. Also, as I showed in the previous videos, again not episode, I have the LDO rails here. I am really impressed with their quality so far, but I really want to test these long term before I actually recommend these. But yeah, they seem nice. Last video I didn't have a lead screw, now I have one. This is the one that came with the pouch kit. As I said, I don't have the Teflon one because well, it didn't come in the box, but at least I got a refund for it, so yeah. And I do have the pouch one, so this won't delay the build. Again, as I mentioned, I'm going with a duet Wi-Fi build, so yeah, I have a duet Wi-Fi here from my old Black Widow, and I will be running everything on Clipper firmware, not FreePrep firmware. And for that, controlling that, I do have a Raspberry Pi Zero here. I don't have a Raspberry Pi 3 on hand, but Pi Zero is good enough for mainsail, so I won't run Octoprint on this because it's not powerful enough. I will try mainsail and well, see where we go. I'm not going to switch on the main rig because I'm too attached to my plugins, but yeah, on this one I might as well try. I'll also figure out a way of mounting this camera. And this is a part that I designed. I do need a revision for this, but it's just for mounting the Pi Zero on top of here and just screw it in here. Again, I do need a new design because these are a little too wide and they interfere with the parts on the duet, but yeah, that's, at least you can see the idea. I have my Mandala Roseworks bed here with Kinovo's Talisman of Bed Adhesion. And yeah, I also applied the Kinovo heater to it. So yeah, and in these boxes I have various parts that we need for this. I am missing a few things. As I said, the 3D printed parts are still cooking. On top of that, well, I do have a threaded E3D V6 thing, but I don't have a not clogged heat break for this, and I also don't have a block for this either, so I'm waiting for those. And I'm also waiting for BMG gears. For these I thought I had one, and the same goes with the BMG gears. I thought I had some, and well, I do, but they're in pretty bad condition, so yeah, I am waiting for those. But yeah, hopefully that won't delay the video too much. They are coming from Triangle Lab, which is pretty good at fast shipping in my experience, but yeah, who knows what will happen. And I also didn't mention, in case you don't know, the Voron Zero uses these cute little NEMA 14s instead of NEMA 17s. So yeah, I think that's worth mentioning as well. And as I said, other than those Triangle Lab parts, I do have everything here. So yeah, we can begin building this thing. and I'll come back to you once I made some progress. I made some progress, and well, what I did is I constructed the main frame, not the main frame. I think I made that joke before, sorry. Anyway, and well, yeah, as you can see, everything is in place. The extruder is still missing, obviously. One thing I noticed is I cut these panels based on the XFs provided with the rest in the GitHub, and well, they are okay, but they are a little undersized, so I don't know. I disabled scaling when I was printing these to stick on the aluminum to cut this, but I don't know if my printer still scaled this down a little bit or something else happened, but yeah, these are a little smaller than they're supposed to be. But other than that, as you can see, everything else is fine. I still need to print a bed, then mount it, and then I'll move on to the gantry. But again, I'm waiting for the printed parts. Not much happened since the last update, but I just wanted to show you how tight of a fit the duet Wi-Fi will be in here. First of all, it is pretty much impossible for you to fit it anywhere here. Well, if you get rid of the extruder you can maybe, but you know, there isn't really a direct drive way of extruding in this printer, at least not yet, but someone is trying on Discord, so I don't know, who knows. Maybe I'll do the mods myself as well once it is released, or create my own, I don't know. But yeah, for now I have to have the extruder there, so there is no way to fit it there. Same with the power supply. I tried to fit it there, but it doesn't. They are roughly the same size anyway. And yeah, the buck converter barely fit here. I had to orient it the other way around compared to stock, because well, I couldn't orient these in the similar way either, so that had to be done that way. But yeah, as you can see, everything barely fits. I am waiting for the Raspberry Pi Zero adapter to print, so as I said, it is something like this. This is the old one that I need a revision for, so it will go on there. And well, in the new design, the Pi Zero will mount on the bottom of it, and that should give me enough space of clearance for the skirts, so it shouldn't be a problem. It should fit there, unless I fucked up some measurements or something like that. It should fit there. I also need to figure out a way of mounting the SSR. Now, I'm not using the stock SSR because I couldn't get the Crydom ones anywhere locally, and I'm not going to go through a fake Crydom one. And same for Voron, and same for the one that they linked. It just it was out of stock, and anything similar, well, it also didn't really look that beefy to me, so I went with this. Not sure if it is a great relay or not, but at least it is 8 amp rated, so it is way more than enough. So yeah, I'm hoping this won't catch on fire, but I do need to figure out a way of mounting this. So there is that. I also maybe need to put a fuse in line to this just in case, who knows. This is a Chinese SSR after all. And well, the SSR will go somewhere here, and that's probably going to be the only thing apart from the extruder that sits on this side, because as I said, while the stock Raspberry Pi sits here, I will use the Pi Zero, which will go on here. So yeah, I don't think I will have to put anything else in here. The bed wiring will come through this hole. Again, some of it is blocked by this buck converter, but I should be able to route it. One of them will go to the same terminal on the power supply, other one will go to the SSR, probably somewhere around here, and then go to the other part on the power supply, the live side obviously, and I'll plug the power socket directly into the power supply. That is one of the mods that I'm doing actually. I don't think I mentioned it. The reason the rear panel is cut this way is to fit a power socket. Give me 1 second. Yeah, we can see it here. It is cut that way to fit this guy in here, so it will go like this. And I can't do this one-handed, but trust me, it fits there. So yeah, I will wire everything through this. So I won't just have a hole with a cable coming out of it. I should be able to properly unplug without having a cable hanging around. So yeah, that will be nice. And this is one of the standard designs. As you know, it's just a switch here, the socket, and the fuse holder here. So it is fused here at least. So here it is, the Raspberry Pi Zero mount I designed that goes over the Duet. I removed the grub screws here and just added a thermal fuse here, just in case something goes bad. Since I'm using a Chinese SSR, I think this is especially important, but I think it's also a mistake that the BOM doesn't list this. It is a very important safety measure in my opinion. But anyway, yeah, as I said, I removed the grub screws, and well, mainly for this. But since I replaced this and the grub screws I have were black, I decided just to color match. I also replaced the grub screw here as well. So in the front, now you see the screws in silver instead of black. Just noticed something that's worth mentioning with this power supply. I had so far 10 or 15 different Meanwhile power supplies for various projects, and without any exceptions, all the caps they had in them, including the ones in my 2.4, they've been either Nichicon or Rubicon. And well, these caps, for example, are still Rubicon, so they are nice quality. But the main cap here, I noticed they cheaped out and used a Lelong cap. I mean, I'm sure they've done their testing and all. I trust Meanwhile, but still, it's not a great sign to see a cheaper brand of capacitor. At least it's not like Capscom or something like that. But still, it's not one of the top quality manufacturers out there, so... Oh well, I'm sure they mean well. I'll see myself out. So this is how I handled the wiring from the Duet to the Raspberry Pi. I couldn't find a micro USB to micro USB cable, at least not one at a reasonable price. The only one I found was by FIO, and you know how audiophile companies are. They sell cables at a ridiculous price because this conducts the data better somehow. It's not even analog signal. Anyway, that obviously was a stupid way of spending money, so I didn't. But I also couldn't find anything else, so I used one of these USB micro to standard full-size A adapters, OTG adapters that you use on Android phones. One of these guys. And from that, I just use a regular old USB A to micro USB B cable that I had lying around, the shortest one I have. And well, yeah, this should theoretically work. So yeah, I guess we will test that once we power this thing on. But if you have a similar setup, this is a good way of wiring from the Duet to the Raspberry Pi. Now, I don't know if you heard it, I have to deal with the cat. It's been almost a week since the last recording in this video, and all I've done is I did some wiring in the bottom. The reason that I can't progress is printing ABS on the rough PI surface. That works, and it works for probably over 90% of prints that I've tried. But especially the prints with a circle in the bottom, like fan holes, or where the motors, NEMA 17, 14, whatever motors stick through. You know, stuff like that, those circular holes and hexagons as well, they don't really work that well on that rough surface with ABS and ABS only. I don't know why that would make a difference, but that seems to be the cause. I tried large prints, small prints, you know, they don't change anything, it's just the shapes. So anyway, I have to get my PEI sheet, the smooth one, and well, as I said in the earlier V2 video, I ordered one from Wham Bam, and well, It's already in the post office over a week ago. They said the bag arrived, you know, the postal bags there with multiple shipments in them. And 3 days ago they opened the bag, and now it's been 3 days, it hasn't moved. The next step is they sort it out and then they deliver it, so who knows, it will probably take another week. So yeah, that's what's been preventing me from doing anything further. I really need this nut for the lead screw. After that there is a decent amount of progress I can do. I need to square this properly, and then I guess I can move on to other stuff. Also, as you can see, well, you probably can't see, but you probably can hear the panel in here rattles, and that is to be expected with these LDO extrusions. Instead of 3mm gaps here, they have 3.2mm gaps, and well, that's the problem. But there is an obvious solution. The foam tape we use on V2, this stuff, I should be able to use these to thicken the panel a little bit and prevent that the panel from rattling. It doesn't make any functional difference, but it should reduce the noise. And well, finally I also got the acrylic panels. As you can see, there are a lot. These 4 are the side panels of the top hat, and this is the top of the top hat. The packaging is damaged, but this seems to be fine. And well, these are the front doors, and the front door and the sides. And well, the rest of the panels, as you know, I'm using aluminium. So yeah, these are here as well, but I obviously haven't printed the top hat yet. So yeah, as I said, I basically have everything other than the one order with the BMG gears and the heater block from Triangle Lab, which should be here probably next week, who knows. Today is nearly end of the Monday, the week that the video is coming out, and I still didn't get the PI sheet that I ordered. I hate PTT, our post office. Anyway, yeah, I can't print without that, so I just had the quote-unquote brilliant idea of using the spare PI that they provided on the energetic sheet on the big heatbed here as a temporary printing surface. So at least I can get some of the prints done. I'm probably not going to be able to finish everything today because, well, I have to print everything one by one on this tiny print surface. And well, also I waited a long time for the PI to arrive, so yeah, I think it's obvious enough why I can't finish it, but I'll do a decent amount. So yeah, I'll just apply this to the smooth side of this and start printing some of the parts. The amount of screws on A and B drives, I think it's pretty safe to say that they went a lot overkill. Not that I'm complaining, actually I like overkill, but yeah, this is definitely a lot. Got my first test print with the grey filament that I'm planning to use, and well, it looks pretty decent. It's not perfect, but yeah, as I said, I don't want to delay the project, and I think the parts I print will look good enough. So yeah, this is the accent color. It is decided for sure now, so yeah, let's wait and see how the parts actually turn out. I think I did everything I can for this episode, so I just want to walk you through what I did so far, and then well, I'll end the episode obviously. So as you can see, I mounted some of the parts. I believe this is your first look at the accent color, at least when it's not on the spool. So here it is. It's this silvery gray. It's almost white, but not quite. It's still gray, and in my opinion it matches the silver of the aluminium pretty nicely. Just put this here for comparison. And by the way, this is a Dragon tool head. I printed this because I want to have this on hand if I do switch to the Dragon on this, but for now the plan is to use the threaded E3D V6. Also, I mounted the fan here obviously, but one thing that I should show, these screws were really loose, and I noticed that the holes on the Dragon tool head, they are narrower than the ones on the E3D V6 tool head, so I don't know what happened. Maybe it was a design mistake. It could be even fixed by now. This is early versions of the files, but my solution to that was just to use some threaded inserts. I like them more than directly screwing into the plastic anyway, so I'm happy with that. Also, as again, I'll say this again, as you can see, I mounted the front and side panels, and also ran the gantry belts. I know I'm jumping from topic to topic, but as for the rear panel, well, it is ready, and I could mount this before, but the thing is, this power input interferes with the motor here, and if I mount it upside down, which I tried, then I have the problem with the belts. So what I need to do is design a plastic thing that doesn't look too ugly and lets this stick out a little bit from here to house the cables. If it can house the cables, I think it will be good enough. There is a little bit of space here anyway, and plus the cables can squeeze, so yeah, I'll try to make it as small as I can. Also, the wiring down in the electronics chamber is mostly done. I need to run the tool head and the AMD motors and the extruder motor, but anything between the components here, it's wired, plus the bed is wired as well. So yeah, that's done as well. And well, one more thing, at the 4 out of the 6 skirts I printed and mounted as well, so I think this looks pretty nice, again in terms of the color, so I'm happy with that. I went with the opposite of the recommended, which was accent color feet, base color skirts. I did the opposite, and I think it looks pretty nice. Same with the tool head. The main tool head is black, but the fan ducts are accent color. Well, I did the opposite, and I think it will look pretty nice as well once it's finished. But for these parts, I don't know why I keep doing that. I did the same a few episodes ago as well, and V2 I think. Anyway, yeah, as you can see, I used the regular color scheme, so it's just a mix and match of everything. Also didn't use the accent color for the spacers here, for example. So, yeah, as I said, it's just a mix of a few things, but I think I did a decent choice of which parts to print in accent color, which parts to print in the base color. And so yeah, that's all I did. Now I'm waiting for the BMG extruder gears, as I said, and the heat block for this. Unfortunately, I also noticed another thing missing, and that's the Bowden collet. I thought I had some because I ordered 5 when I was building the Mobius 3.1, and I knew I used some of the spares because the Mobius like to push the fitting out of the where it's supposed to be, but I didn't think I used all 5. Turns out I did, so yeah, I don't have them. I'm talking about the blue BMG style Bowden collets. So I ordered those as well, but it's a very new order, so who knows when they will arrive, and I definitely need that because otherwise the Bowden setup wouldn't work. So that will delay this, unfortunately, but hopefully it won't be too bad. I'm also having some trouble with my V2 printing parts. I'm getting a lot of layer shifts, and turns out there is somewhere on this bottom belt, and I know what happens. It's the stupid bearings with the flange instead of idlers. It just rides on them, and then it destructs. The same thing happened on my V2 2.2 as well, and those bearings are for rain dew, and their sizes are accurately measured, and I checked, they're good. So it's not a fault of the bearings, it's just that I don't think we should use those for there's I'm not going to go on about that in this video because this video is about the V0. So yeah, as I said, I'm waiting for those parts. Also, the Rev 2 got released for the Voron 0, which replaces the lead screw, and I am also working on a mod that uses, instead of a lead screw, a belt system. So both of those options I'll consider and choose one, and that will be coming in a later episode as well. But yeah, as I said, I think that's it for this episode. Sorry for this rambly mess of an outro. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave me a like down below, and thanks for watching.